Okay, guys, here goes for quiz 3.1.3. So the first quiz in section 3.1. So this is called Returning to Normalcy. This we've talked about most of this stuff before, so if some of this sounds familiar, that's good. Some of the stuff I hadn't really cared to have you guys know, so you haven't learned it. So I guess Apex decided you guys should learn it. So here we go. So I'm mostly just going to talk to you guys about the things that I did not cover in class, okay? All right, so first we've got President Harding, okay? So he is the president in the early 1900s. He was a big fan of big business. Definitely remember that one because there's at least a few questions that could be possible for your quiz that is about President Harding and the favors that he does for big business. He likes big business. He wants to help them. He doesn't like unions because unions typically are not they don't like businesses. They want to help the workers. So it's always business versus the workers, right? We've talked about strikes before. We've talked about unfair working conditions in the factories. So this is the time frame that we're at right now. So he was big business, okay? Remember that. Harding, big business, okay? In one of the possible quiz questions asked about what did the 1920 presidential election show about the American public opinion? The answer is they're tired about being involved in European affairs. So after World War I, they were sick of it. They didn't want any more. They said, you know what, we have been isolationists for a reason. We want to go back to that. So they tried. They did. They tried to go back to isolationism after World War I. Didn't work, but they did certainly try. So, that's definitely a public thing that we want to do is stay out of world affairs. Labor unions, as I talked about before with President Harding, unions were kind of weakened by a strong economy. Businesses were doing well. People were making money. And when people are making money and businesses are doing well, and we have a lot of people, immigrants, coming to the country, unions are super weak. So unions were not doing very good. Businesses were doing very well. One of the reasons why is because President Harding, if you guys remember when we watched Men Who Built America with the industrialists, with Rockefeller and Vanderbilt, how at the very end when Rockefeller was going into his trial, he was guilty according to the Sherman Antitrust Act. That's basically preventing large businesses from becoming monopolies. So what Harding did was he actually got to the Supreme Court and he scaled down those restrictions on businesses in the Sherman Antitrust Act. So big businesses were able to be bigger when he was president because he scaled down the power of that Antitrust Act. He definitely felt like businesses should be supported by government. Any labor union was definitely weak, especially one it talks about in the American Federation of Labor. It was weakened in the 1920s because they didn't allow African Americans to join. So if you remember when we talked about the 1920s, the rise of the KKK and white supremacy, white racism, that we talked about, when they did not allow African Americans to join because of the hatred that they had at the time, it made those labor unions even more weak because they didn't have that extra support base. They didn't have those extra numbers, which could have strengthened their union. Let's see. I'm going to show a political cartoon to you guys. This is the political cartoon for something that's called the Teapot Dome scandal. So this is just one example of corruptness in government at this time. Basically, the government was secretly leasing land to oil companies. So here is, the oil scandal coming, paving its way, getting they're making their way to the White House, getting power, getting positions so that they can get the land that they want. So anytime that you have government personnel doing back deals, secret deals, there's going to be a scandal about it. So this is a political cartoon about that scandal. Let's see what else. I think that's the only picture that I wanted to share with you guys. Let's see. So 1920s, the American economy was doing fantastic. People were doing so well that there was a lot of goods being produced. There was a lot of money to be made, and when you're making a lot of money, we talked about industrialization. Some people can become strong, and the middle class became pretty high during this time because they were able to buy more things and make more things and have more money. Again, if you want to remember, the new American middle class created a market for the most produced goods. So industrialization, we talked about this a while back, but it created so many mass-produced goods, mass production, right? And the middle class is the one that just ate it all up. They wanted all of it. So they got a lot of stuff through that. One of the ways that it made this easy was Ford's assembly lines. So here is a picture of workers in a factory on an assembly line. You can see that they're working with, no, I keep confusing my words. It's about midnight for me right now. So nuts and bolts and wheels. So these assembly lines are very efficient because they allow small tasks. You don't have to be skilled. Before, when you made things entirely by hand, you did have to be skilled, but now you have so many workers that do not have to be skilled. So you're able to make a lot more. Things are cheaper, easier, faster. We talked about this, results of industrialization. The assembly lines will make products just move more efficiently down the line between the manufacturing steps that are involved in creating these things. And this is a way, this kind of political or this economical lifestyle that these workers are doing is known as Fordism. So Ford is the one who invented the assembly line, if you don't remember that. And some great things about Fordism is it allows things to be produced quicker and more of it, mass production. And also he was unique in allowing his workers to be provided health care and housing. And he was one of the first big employers who actually provided that for his people. So that was pretty awesome that he did that. So that is a little bit, but basically in this return to normalcy, they wanted to get the country back running and go. We need to get back to normal. We need to get back to business. We need to get back to making money and grow the economy. And that's what pushed this mass production and the economy going and people buying things. And unfortunately, that was some of the reason as to why the Great Depression happened later on, because they were buying off credit, things that we've talked about before. So the rest of that stuff is stuff that we basically already talked about in class. I'm not going to go over it because hopefully you guys kind of got your memory jogged a little bit through there. But remember, President Harding, big business. He's definitely do anything that he can do to protect big businesses. He does. Okay. And labor unions are super weak at this time. So that's basically it for 3.1.3.